Hey, you. Welcome. Today we are going to jump right in. We are on the road to glory, the Breeders' Cup. And today we are going to be talking about um, more about the Breeders' Cup. And I wanted to just kind of recap what we talked about last week and the week before. Last week we learned that the horses qualify for the Breeders' Cup through the win and you're in it. And I have one horse that did actually compete last Saturday, and I'll talk about that later on in the slide. Um, and those win it, you're in it winners are automatically qualified to be in different Breeders' Cup divisions and what makes each one unique. So today I'm going to continue talking about the Breeders' Cup, but today we're going to focus on the Breeders' Cup division. Understanding what the Breeders' Cup divisions are. Um, just like in a track and field, it's the best of the best of the best as far as what horses qualify in the Breeders' Cup, both nationally and internationally. The Breeders' Cup has different divisions designed for distance, um, ages, gender, racing types or racing style, and surfaces. So, um, I'm going to be talking about each one and giving a little bit of information about it. I don't want to get too technical, and that's not the purpose of um, this live stream anyway. It's to keep it simple. Like my parents used to say, keep it simple, stupid. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep it simple. So moving on, the first one that we're going to talk about today is called the sprint division. I'm sorry. This is called the sprint division. The sprint division is all about the speed, how fast a horse can go. These are races that typically are shorter distances, like maybe 6, 7 furlongs. Um, and they explode fast out of the gate and they finish fast. So these are your sprint division. These horses are built like Olympic sprinters. They don't need to conserve energy for long races. Their job is to go fast and stay fast. It's like 100-meter race that you run, not a marathon. So that's what these are. Um, that's what these sprint division races are for. What makes these sprint horses special? They have explosive acceleration, uh, quick gate speed, powerful finishing kick, and less emphasis is on the stamina. It's all about how fast this horse can run. So those are your sprint divisions and what they mean. Now, we're going to move on. And the next one we're going to talk about is mile division. Now, these they consider to be the perfect balance. And most of these horses run in what they call the Breeders' Cup Mile. It's usually about a mile long and it blends speed, stamina, and strategy into the race. Mile horses must be quick enough to stay competitive and strong enough to finish. Um, Fans love these mile races, and many of them consider the mile to be the most exciting. The pace is usually fast, the field remains close together, and The dramatic finish are common. It's not like your typical stake races and where one will get away from the other. There's usually pretty close competition. Um, a mile horse is like a middle distant runner, not necessarily a sprinter, but they're not necessarily a marathon runner either. They're kind of like a little bit of both. So that's the mile division. The next one we're going to talk about is the turf division. These are the grass specialists, as they're called. These horses run in the Breeders' Cup Turf. Um, it's considered one of the most prestigious races in the world because many of your top competitors are coming from Ireland, Britain, France, Japan, um, Argentina. I mean, they come from around the world. Um, because turf racing is super popular internationally. It's far more popular internationally, and I've covered this before, far more popular internationally than they are nationally. So, um, these races often emphasize patience, timing, and endurance. Unlike many dirt races, the turf races may start slow but have an exploding ending. And I have experienced seeing that myself. So I have to agree. Although I've never seen any of the Breeders' Cup races personally. So I'm really excited about um, seeing how these races um, transpire on October 30th and 31st. So, but anyway, moving on. The next one is the distiff division. These are the ladies. These are your fillies and mares. I didn't know this. This is all new to me. They tend to run in the Breeders' Cup Distiff. And it's also one of the most prestigious races regarding the ladies. Um, Many of the legendary race horses who have won, just to name a couple, is Zenyatta. I know that horse. Beholder and Royal Delta. Um, Now, why does it matter? Um, The distaff often determines the champion older female horse. Uh, they are like the elite female athlete. They just have the ability to show their stuff in the distaff race. Um, and that's about it. That's all I can say on the females. I didn't even know they did female races. I guess it makes sense, but again, I'm learning as I go along. And I've always learned that knowledge is power, so I'm getting a lot of knowledge in this. So the next one are the classic division. This is the main race. This is the Breeders' Cup Classic. This is the biggest race of the entire weekend. It's like the Super Bowl of horse racing. This particular race. It is the championship. It goes a mile and a quarter. And this classic is so important that it decides, or because it decides the horse of the year, championship honors and accolades, and racing legacy. Winning the classic can make a horse immortal in racing history. Some of the famous winners of this is American Pharaoh, of course, Tiz Now, and Zenyatta. Zenyatta was a female and she won the classic. So there you have it. I'm sure some of you knew that, but I didn't know that. So anyway, the So that is the main one. So if I don't watch anything else, which I'm sure I am gonna watch all of them, but I will, if anything happens, I would definitely be tuning in for the main event, the main classic event. And then next we have the juvenile division. These are 2 year olds that have potential that will be racing in the juveniles. These are hopefully the future stars of the Breeders' Cup and beyond. Because I think if they win the championship and they turn 3 in January, they might be selected to run in next year's Kentucky Derby. But I'll find out more about that. I don't want to get too far ahead, and I just want to stay focused on what we are talking about today. Many champions first become famous in juvenile races. These races help fans identify future Derby contenders, so yes, future stars and future champions. Examples of the juvenile division I put up here are the juvenile filly, the juvenile turf, the juvenile fillies turf, and then the juvenile turf sprint. Now, I don't think all of these are going to be part of the races coming up in October. As we get further along, I will probably most likely put up what races will be in on Saturday, on Friday, and what races will be on Saturday. So you have a complete lineup. And I'll also be talking about the horses that are going to be in each race as we get further along. We are so far out until I have nothing to tell about that part yet. Um, they are the rookies of the the juvenile. They are the juveniles are the rookies of future races. So it's all, I guess it's going to be nice to see what to keep an eye on out for, who to keep an eye out for when it comes to the Derby next year. Um so just to recap, the sprint division is purely about speed. That's all it's about. It's not about stamina, it's not about strategy, it's not about any of those things. The mile is all about speed and stamina, so you have to have a combination of both, and hopefully you can get it balanced and where you'll be able to showcase both speed and stamina. The turf are your um, grass specialists, and you will see more international um, competitors in the turf races because that's what they're mainly known for. The distaffs are the ladies, will be your fillies and mares showing their stuff and which one comes out on top. The classic is your championship race, or your championship horses. These are the best of the best of the best. And like I said, it's like the football um, of horse racing, thoroughbred horse racing anyway. And then you have your juvenile races, which are your future stars. So it'll be interesting to to see. Um, Trivia question. What is the richest Breeders' Cup race? And that should be easy because that is the classic, currently offering the largest pot. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that Breeders' Cup purse is at 13 million. Just that race alone, I believe. I will confirm that. And it runs, like I said, about a mile and a fourth. Um, and now we're going to move on to the latest Win It, You're in It winner. I saw this race last Saturday, and that was Reef Runner, who won on the Breeders' Cup Challenge series on Saturday, this past Saturday, June 6th at Saratoga. And now he has a place, an automatic place in the birth of the Breeders' Cup turf. So that is the latest addition to the Win and You're in It horses. I did not go in and put together the horses right now because, like I said, it's so early. I think we still have like 22 weeks left, and they're not, I mean, it's too early to really try and determine who are the top contenders. So I'm not even going to cover those right now. I'm just trying to get a lot of the um, terminology down and understanding what it is and understanding what the expectations are come Breeders' Cup Day, and there's a lot to cover. So I'm just here to kind of be the messenger, so to speak, on explaining what the Breeders' Cup is about and what it has to offer. Um, I do have another trivia question. Now, I've been saying this the whole time, so this is more like um, information that you should already know. And that is, what does Win and You're in It mean? Um, and for those who don't know, Win and You're in It means that the race that is part of the challenge series of the Breeders' Cup, whoever wins that particular race has an automatic spot in the Breeders' Cup to, and it depends on which race, which division, um, has an automatic spot in that um, race. And the fees are paid, and um, the transportation, depending on where the horse is actually coming from, because they have them. It's not just so. The one thing I didn't explain is that these Breeder Cup Challenge races do not only take place in the US, they are around the world. So if a Breeders' Cup or the race is Win and You're in It, and they're in, like, say, Japan, those fees are waived to send those horses back to, or to the US to compete in whatever division they won that race in. So, you know, that's mainly the reason why. That's the reason for putting your horse in those type of races, so that they don't have to worry about paying the fee. Now, here on and nationally, I'm not sure. I know um the entry is handled, and the most of the fees are covered, but I'm not sure what else is included in those requirements, or those honors that you get when you win the race. So but I know I'm going to be talking about this more as we go along, so I'm not trying to overwhelm with too many different topics. I just want to stick with the topic at hand. And these are the main things that I wanted to cover today were just what were the divisions, and kind of talk a little bit about the divisions. And I'm sure there's a whole lot more involved in talking about the divisions, but like I said, I just wanted to kind of keep it simple and just explain it in a way that if I can explain it and you understand, then that means you kind of get it. And I will be recapping each week what I've talked about in the past, like the win it, the win and you're in it. That is such a hard thing for me to say. I keep messing it up for whatever reason. I don't know why my brain just can't figure out how to say it correctly. And I mean, it's right here on the screen, and I'm just, just tongue tied when it comes down to it. But that is pretty much it. I don't want to overwhelm, and I don't want to talk too much about um more technical um information about this. Now, I am going to put up a poll. I'm going to put up the poll. I'm going to have to do this in Discord because there are too many answers or too many questions or too many options to pick from. So the question is going to be, and you can come over to Discord and answer the questions if you so choose. Which Breeders' Cup division sounds most exciting? Is it the sprint because of all of the speed and that's involved in the race, and because it's mostly 6 furlongs, which is a little more than a half mile, so it's almost like they have to have quarter horse speed, but um so that might be your pick. Or is it the mile where you want to see that balance, and where the trainers have been able to bring that natural balance, and where the horse has both speed and stamina, and that is what interests you? I don't know. Maybe. Or do you want to see the international horses compete with the national horses on the turf? Now, that's not to say that they're not going to have any horses that compete on the dirt. They just might. I'm not really. I don't know the answer to that yet, so I'm not going to even um, engage trying to get any of those answers. But it's a good question. Or do you want to see the fillies? Do you want to just see them run around? And I mean, we have some great fillies and mares that compete with um the boys. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there was a female horse not too long ago, I want to say within the last 5 years, that competed in the Kentucky Derby. I don't know where she came, but I do know that she competed in the Kentucky Derby, which is very rare. So that lets you know that was a good horse. And again, I'll come back and talk about it later because I'm sure it's going to come up again. I'm just giving you a little bit of flavor, a little bit of information that I'll be sharing later. Maybe you'll come back and see if I give you the answers. Anyway, the next one is the classic. Do we want to see all of the championship horses in the one race to see who's going to win that particular race? And that is the only thing that you want to see because that's the most impressive and the most exciting race of the weekend. I don't know. And then lastly, do you want to talk about the juveniles? Do you want to see the juveniles? Do you want to see who the new um, future championships are going to be? I mean, it's all possible. It's all possible. Um, so I will put that up on Discord because, like I said, there are too many options, so I can't put it up on YouTube. I think YouTube limits you to 4, so that doesn't work. Um, anyway, last question. can a horse compete in more than one Breeders' Cup? Now, we haven't talked about this, um, but I saw it and I thought, oh, what a great question. And the answer actually is usually no. Owners and trainers choose the division that best fits the horse's ability, preferred distance, and preferred um, surface. Just like an athlete that specializes in a particular sport, horses often do much better in the division that they actually qualify for and compete. So that is the answer that I'm having. That is um, um, that is the answer to that question. So on that note, I think I am done. I don't think I have anything else other than what I'm going to talk about next week. Next week, we're going to explore some of the division leaders in the Breeders' Cup moments, some of the greatest moments that ever happened in the Breeders' Cup. Um, we'll talk about horses and, unforgettable finishes, anything that um, is relating to um, the history of the Breeders' Cup. I'm going to go a little bit more into detail. And that one might last a little bit longer. I'm trying to keep it between this, because this segment is just for fun educational purposes about the Breeders' Cup. So I'm not trying to make it too long, and I don't want to make it seem so boring. So I'm trying to, that's the reason why I'm kind of going through it, is not quickly, but I'm trying not to spend a lot of time um um trying to waste too much of the time talking about unnecessary information. So on that note, I look forward to seeing you again next week. Like I said, we're going to be talking more about the history of the Breeders' Cup and some of the past things that have come up. I think this one's going to be a little bit more interesting, not just babble
Talk
information.
about Saturday.
Oh, thank you. Saturday, we have 5 stake races that I will be covering this Saturday. There aren't going to be that many. Let me kind of run that down real quick. Let's see. I had it open, but I closed it. Okay. Let's go back here real quick. Okay, so Saturday we'll be talking about what in the world? So we will be talking about the New York Stallion Coupe 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 Joy Division Stake Race. That's at Belmont Stake. It's $150,000 race. It's going 6 furlongs on the turf. That starts at 4:13, which means I probably will be online at 4 o'clock on Saturday. There are 2 races at Churchill Downs. Monome Girl Overnight Stake Race. That's $175,000 race. It's going a mile in the 16th on the dirt at roughly 4:56. The next race is going to also be at Churchill Downs. Those are Chorleywood Stake Race. It's going a mile and 3/8, and that's on the turf. That's going to be about 5:28. And then there are 2 races at Santa Anita. One is going to be at 7:30. Daytona Stake Race is going about a mile. No, it's going about 6.5 furlongs, and it's a downhill turf race. And then the last one, Summertime Oaks, which is a mile and the 16th on the dirt. That's going to be at 9 o'clock, and these are all Eastern Standard Times. And the two races at Santa Anita are both $100,000 each. The two races at Churchill Downs, one is $175,000 and the second one is $225,000. And like I said, the one at Belmont is going to be $150,000. So I will see you either this Saturday, June 13th, or I will see you next week, Thursday, as we talk more about the Breeders' Cup. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful time. And please like, share, comment um, these videos if you want to see more of them. So until then, enjoy and have a lovely, wonderful rest of your day. Bye.